Evening all, so we're back in the elite captain's chair. Now, interestingly enough, we've been doing a little bit of experimentation with this game. So let me tell you a bit of a story. It's a bit of a story today. Basically, right, so let me get my brain together. I've been drinking quite a lot. The story begins with a rather dashing looking CEO Pyrex. He sat in his captain's chair wearing a rather figure-hugging tight lycra suit. Seriously, have you looked down? If you play the game, look down. Wow, seriously, what's that about? Are you a gimp? And a space gimp? What's that about? Anyway, so CEO Pyrex basically was, I was sat in the station doing some trades, and I thought to myself, I don't really want to kind of faff about here. I want to kind of make the money quick, make some good stuff, and just basically buy the ship, the guns, and all that. Now, this footage you're seeing here is actually about to. Well, it all goes kind of wrong in the next video actually, because there is an insurance bug. So we actually spent all of our money on this Cobra Mark III, and we didn't then get an insurance payout. So actually, in the end, we kind of lost everything. So just be aware of that, because that's actually not good. Anyway. Didn't know this at the time, and but this is after this footage. What effectively I was doing was trying to get as much money together as I could to do trading. Right, so I started looking into some routes, and I found a couple of routes that basically earn you about 120k per run with the Lakon Type 6, which is, I guess, a medium hauler. So I spent a huge amount of money getting the Lakon, and then I spent pretty much every single penny on on cargo. You can see where this is going, right? You can see where this is going. And I'm sat in station, and everything is fine. I'm looking around my nice big new ship, and everything looks hunky-dory, as we would say in the UK. So we then get to the point where it's okay, so we know we're going from A to B. So I undock, rather I launch, okay, and this thing starts to go up in the air, and things are looking pretty good. This thing takes off, and it's actually not too bad. It's quite maneuverable, and I start to fly it towards the exit. Now, as I do this, I'm not stupid. I know that there's always going to be a high risk going through that goddamn letterbox every time you do it. And I looked as closely as I genuinely could. Admittedly, I'd been drinking, and that's probably what will go on the police report. But I looked through as far as I could see. The letterbox was getting closer and closer and closer. And I thought to myself, no, it looks clear. Everything's fine. Everything's good. So my finger reached for the tab button. And I hovered over the tab button, and I just thought, my brain just literally jumped up and said, do you know what, Pyrex, you've been drinking. You probably just want to check your senses and not pissing with you. So I just gave it a second look. And as I gave it a second look, my finger said, haha, let's have some fun here. And it slammed down on the tab key as I realized a Lakon Type 9 was coming through the docking port. I had completely missed it. So, don't fly and drink, kids. It's not, it's not cool, and it's not big, and it's not clever. So my brain goes into super overdrive because I have a number of thoughts in a particular order. Number one, I'm hurtling towards the letterbox of the station undock, and the Lakon is coming through it, and it's actually in the gap, and it's filling the gap. Okay, my afterburner has, and this is all happening in split seconds. My afterburner has also fired. And that means I'm speeding up towards it. My third thoughts were, you are in a heavy ship, you're in a very heavy ship, and actually you have just spent every penny on the ship and the cargo. So pretty much you're about to lose days of work. Okay, so that's the scenario, picture it. And if we kind of do a freeze of that particular moment, my brain is just firing, and I'm thinking, what the hell do I do in all of a split second? And do you know what I do? I gun it, and I just literally hit the afterburner again. Admittedly, it didn't do much, and I just aimed directly at the wall. So if you've got the letterbox of the station and dock, and you've got then the very walls on either side, so literally the thinnest point of the whole thing, I just aimed directly at that. Okay, and I spin the ship. I managed to literally just do a spin as well, and I basically, if you imagine it, the Lakon is probably looking at me thinking, what's this guy's problem, as I hurtle towards him all strafing about. And what actually happens, long story short, is I clip the guns on the station mouth. If you've never seen them, look in the letterbox, there's guns there. And as I hit this thing, I then bounce off it, taking no shield damage, by the way, everything's fine. I bounce off it into the side of the Lakon. And at this point, everything goes slow motion. Literally the whole thing slows down. And my kind of, my immediate thoughts jump up again, and they kind of start kicking me in the balls. Literally, my brain starts rebelling against me and says, ah ha ha ha, you've ballsed it up, you've lost everything, lol, you're a noob. My second thoughts then think, hang on, I haven't exploded. And then my third thoughts basically kick up and say, wow, you've got 2% hull left. And as I kind of bounce and ricochet and, you know, swirl around like some kind of crazed Arabic desert drifter who's just completely lost his car and rolled it 20 times, you know the type I mean, I kind of somersault into space. and I must have mashed buttons, my inertia dampeners were off, my flight assist was off, and I just literally keep spinning. And I'm just sat there watching the station just go round, and then it would come from the left to right, around again, and it would just get further and further away, further and further away. And I thought to myself, my God, I survived. And that was my little story. Now, I'm not going to say that this is a good thing. This is kind of a great example of this game will punish you if you play it drunk. It will punish you if you play it flippantly. And I think really I would recommend, if you're going to play this game while having a few, quote, don't use all your money. Seriously, don't use all your money upon silly trades. Trading has made me a lot of money, and I'm very lucky I didn't die. I mean, phenomenally lucky I didn't die. But you see it quite often in the undock. You see a lot of people basically dying on the undock. They fly right into the side of the station for some reason, God knows. You see a lot of NPCs still die as well. I saw an anaconda try and exit the station gap, but instead of going through it with its thinnest end, it tried to go through it like, you know, basically its fattest end. So, you know, it just wouldn't fit. And it was like watching a drunk guy run at a door holding a plank long ways, or rather width ways. And he just slammed into it and then just exploded. And there was huge amounts of death and carnage and terror and horror. I think the anaconda's portaloo ruptured as well, because there looked to be unspeakable horrors floating in space. But either way, it was a hell of an evening, and I remember sort of that actually did make me stop and think, wow, what am I doing? I'd never drink drive in real life, ever, because that's just stupid, and games are games, so you should be able to enjoy that. But part of me actually did a bit of a health check and said, what are you doing? Why did you do that? And I think the reality is I couldn't tell you. I think it was just I wanted to make some money and do it while having a few cheeky beers and cheeky glasses of wine and just basically enjoying the game. The game's very enjoyable, and it's thoroughly fun to do when you've had a few, because some of the things you find, look at that sun, isn't that beautiful? Some of the spectacles that you see are just awe-inspiring. And I think that's got to be the power of the game. But there we go. So fun times. You know, it was bloody close. I didn't record it, so before people say put the footage up, I'm afraid I didn't record it because again I was drunk. So yeah, not the best of times to be doing that. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.